What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and here is a bizarre news tale going on right now with Mr. Beast. I think I'm ahead of the curve in terms of when all the articles are going to come out about this, but let's just say Mr. Beast has the look of a man that the media would love to cancel. You know, the look. And what we have now is a text message coming in at the worst possible time, but also the fact that a former editor who has, from what I can tell, never said anything negative about Mr. Beast. In fact, went out of his way to say many positive things about how he treated him as an employee, has now come out with some pretty spicy comments about him. This, according to Deserto, as well as we'll look at his former editor's actual Twitter. The video editor who was previously employed by YouTube star Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, has made a series of allegations against the American content creator, claiming that he was, quote, bullied during his time working for him. Mr. Beast is one of the most popular YouTubers in the world with 24 million subscribers and millions of views on each of his videos. In fact, he just went through, I think, a Hardee's drive-through 1,000 times. Pretty brutal. Hopefully he donated some of that food or something, because, you know, people will be upset about that. In which he performs crazy challenges and hands out thousands of dollars to other content creators and members of the general public. Hey, Mr. Beast, holler at your boy. You know, I'm trying to put together a nice addition to my brie shed. An editor who formerly worked with the 21-year-old has now made allegations against Mr. Beast, claiming that he was bullied and told he was replaceable. You are replaceable. You were like a 21, or you were like a kid video editor. Of course, your video editors are replaceable. No, you know, no disrespect to any video editors out there, but besides the on-screen talent, everyone is replaceable. Just ask all those people that stood up to Chris Hardwick how that worked out for him. I'm going to pull up this article here. So, an editor who formerly worked for the 21-year-old has now made allegations against Mr. Beast, claiming he was bullied and told he was replaceable. Again, who cares? He also says he suffered from mental breakdowns and makes several more allegations regarding his time working for the YouTuber. Now, look, maybe what he's saying is true. What I hope people will do is all of the unfair videos will receive a ton of sharing and press time. I hope that you'll leave a like on this video, leave a comment, and then consider sharing it out on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, because I want to get out in front of this, because this is going to be another, what looks to be another attempt by cancellation culture. I just got that feeling based on some of the things this kid is saying. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know. Mr. Beast has not made a statement, but this is what that very same video editor said about working for Mr. Beast and what Mr. Beast did for him after it was decided that he would no longer work there.
So they sat me down at a table, and it was Mr. Beast and the manager and then me. So basically just like them two on one side, me on another side. Basically just said, hey man, I know this is kind of random, or it might seem random because you moved down here from so far away. And they said, hey, basically we realized that you aren't long-term in this, because I was planning on either moving to Los Angeles, backpacking across Asia, which I'm gonna do, or go to college in the fall. At the time I wasn't sure, but I was gonna do one of those three things in the fall. And they basically just said, we really just want people who are gonna be in here for the long term. And you have other aspirations, we can see that, and we know that's what you should be focusing on, not just this other channel if you really want to do other things. That's fair. I mean, they wanted people who are gonna be there for the long term, and I was working as hard as I could every single day that I showed up to those offices, and they told me that they admired like my work ethic, everything was good about what I did, and I really didn't do anything wrong. It was just that they wanted people who would be there for the long run. So they asked me my final decision if I still plan on doing other things in the fall, and I was like yes, and they were like, well, because of that we're gonna let you go. So it was basically mutual. They asked me, are you still gonna do this? And I was like yes, and they were like, all right, but you know, this is what we're gonna say. We're gonna say you're gonna be let go if you answer yes. And I was like, yes. You know what I'm saying? If that didn't make sense, then that's pretty understandable. However, they did say some other things which were so kind of them. So what they did right after that, after they let me go, they said, all right, so we pay for the apartment that you live in right now down the road with other people. I lived with a kid named Eric, who was the other videographer for Mr. Beast, and they said, who also, by the way, Mr. Beast paid for my rent every month when I lived in North Carolina. And he said, all right, you can live here as long as you want. You can literally stay in this like pretty expensive apartment just until you feel comfortable leaving. Don't feel like you're in a rush. Stay as long as you want. Stay for months if you want to. It doesn't matter to us. And he was willing to pay my rent and let me live in that apartment, which I did move out of pretty quickly. However, I had the option to stay there for a long time, which is so insane to let him do. They're still paying me right now. I'm still technically working. I'm not going to give like any numbers or anything. They said we're still going to pay you for a while, and that is basically funding my trip to backpack across Asia, which is so insane.
Hey, so maybe this apartment where you're living was part of your employment agreement. You don't have to make any apologies for that. But clearly, Mr. Beast, as you've said, has offered you at least something that you didn't take advantage of. But he said you could stay living there for free. And he even offered to pay for your backpacking trip. Certainly, one does wonder if something changed with that offer. Maybe Mr. Beast decided, hey, I'm not going to fund this anymore, and that's what's bringing this on. But to me, this doesn't sound like somebody who was, you know, working in a terrible work environment and having the stress of it. You look pretty happy to me, and you sound very thankful for Mr. Beast. Now, Matt Turner originally announced that he had parted ways with Mr. Beast back in August 2018, setting a mutual split between the pair, which we just saw video evidence of. And in a series of tweets on October 6th, over a year later, the editor made a number of claims against his former employer. That was the most mentally draining time of my life, he wrote on Twitter. I was yelled at, bullied, called names, and replaceable by Mr. Beast every day. Being in tears and having mental breakdowns day after day is difficult. And after a while, it became too much. Now, look, I'm not saying that Mr. Beast was a great boss. Maybe he was rough. You know, the YouTube game is stressful. Maybe, you know, and he's just a kid. You know, growing up, you learn how to manage people. When you're just a kid and you have a bunch of money, you know, maybe you are a little bit of, you know, could have a bit of an edge to you. I don't know. But that does seem counterintuitive to what you yourself have said about Mr. Beast going out of his way to offer to pay for your trip and to pay for extra months in an apartment where he probably didn't have to. Although if I had an employee relocate, I'd probably have to bake in some sort of amount of time and pay for their move back. That's just the way it goes. After every editing mistake I made, I was made to feel like an absolute idiot, even if the content wasn't real. No credit was given unless a video I edited got credited to someone else. This is interesting. Is he claiming that Mr. Beast is making fake videos? I don't know. But it's interesting because he goes, I'm not going to make a video about my time editing for Mr. Beast, but I will say that it was the most mentally draining time of my life. I was yelled at, blah, blah, blah. After every editing mistake, no credit was given. I mean, look, you have a job. You give credit. I think you should give credit, but that's not a rule. Do you think that every single editor that works on a Hollywood movie is credited in the credits? I mean, if they are, I'd be surprised. He continued, editors were told that if they ever left the team, we shouldn't be set up for success afterwards. So no credit was given. Okay, fine. You knew that going in. Ideas would be taken, people would be baited into the team, and I would be screamed at and then told I just misinterpreted what I heard by his impossible-to-please momager. So his mom is his manager. That's always a great situation, said no one ever. We were forced to re-sign NDAs and told these were our glory days, that a summary of almost every day on the team, that was like work for Mr. Beast. That's what it was like working for Mr. Beast. And that I don't work there now. Signing an NDA, by the way, is something totally normal. It's to prevent this type of thing. Now, interestingly enough, you said you weren't going to make a video. I'm not going to make a video about my time editing for Mr. Beast, but then you go on to say, he states that he intends to make a video with proof and examples, detailing his accusations, with the video unlikely to appear until October 12th, explaining that it will probably be uploaded, quote, next weekend. The time of this writing, neither Mr. Beast nor any of his members of his team have commented on the currently unsubstantiated claims. DeSerto has reached out to the YouTuber for comment. Now, again, I don't know. Was the guy yelled at his job? I mean, probably. But you said nothing for the last year, and it seems like you are preparing to make the video, as we saw just 4 hours ago. Might record the video today. Seems like the story really blew up. I mean, cancel culture is awful. Now, if Mr. Beast acknowledges this, which I'm going to guess that he doesn't, that's the best thing to do. You know, I don't know what to believe anymore. I would say in the overwhelming majority of cases where somebody comes out and their first claim is to make a public Twitter post, what have we seen in the past? Is it possible Mr. Beast, backtracked on his offer to pay for the backpacking trip? I don't know. It seems like really odd timing. It seems like just like every other attempt to cancel where you have, a vague Twitter claim. We're probably going to see a video tonight, I'm guessing. And we may have to update this story later. So I'm going to leave kind of a video slot open for 7 o'clock in case that happens. But I think it's important that we remain not reactionary here, and that we've seen zero evidence. As we have right now is one person's claims against another. That same person has self-contradicted themselves, saying, I'm not going to make a video. Oh, wait, yes, I am, because I want, it would appear to me, some more credit. I don't know. This seems like somebody who was very happy to part ways mutually, who received free lodging after his termination. It seemed like it was his choice to leave that job, and everything seemed fine. Now, a year later, somebody might be looking to build a YouTube career. I'm not sure. Will there be kernels of truth? Probably. We're just going to have to wait to see. But I urge everyone to please stay calm on this whole jumping on the bandwagon. Look, if it turns out some terrible things happened, I'll report on that too. But there's got to be evidence, and there's got to be proof. You can't just say stuff on Twitter and make money. Well, apparently you can, but I wish that it wasn't that way. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video, because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.